And when they graduate from high school or get the equivalent, then they get a $500 bonus. So it's a monetary incentive program to stay in school, to get that education, so that they're in a better position to support themselves and their children in the future. In the meantime, there's, I think maybe with the child care component might have come in, is that there are things we can help the teens with. We want to eliminate barriers to going to school. So that includes helping with transportation, reimbursing for mileage or providing bus passes. And we can also pay for child care through CDR, Child Development Resources, if there's no other option. We just want to eliminate any barriers to attending school. And also, we can cover ancillary expenses, such as book expenses, lab expenses, or even cover their graduation account when they do graduate. Our referrals for our voluntary program, our AFLP program from Cal State. And both programs, it's the comprehensive case management services, and that they're working with the team, assessing their situation, assessing what their needs are, their resource needs, getting them to services. We can provide transportation and county vehicles, as long as we have the parents sign a release. And then a lot of education on prenatal care, fetal development, nutrition, effects of drugs and alcohol, labor and delivery, developmental stages, what to expect from a 6-month-old as compared to a 3-month-old, parenting skills, healthy relationships, nutrition. It's just a whole gamut. They're really both very beneficial, comprehensive programs for teens. So, as I mentioned, I have extra brochures in case anyone is interested, and especially the voluntary program, the FLP, which is that we just received referrals, and each plan is assigned a case manager, and the case manager works very closely with that team for positive outcomes. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. You mentioned that CalSafe refers to CalLearn. You get a lot of referrals from CalSafe program.
No, I'm sorry. We get referrals for our voluntary program, our Adolescent Family Life program, AFLP, from CalSafe. We work in conjunction with CalSafe to eliminate that child care barrier for both programs. Okay. So we refer to CalSafe to get child care.
Okay, so my question is, if there wasn't a program like CalSafe, would the district refer their students to you guys?
No, we do not provide child.
No, I mean not in regards to child care, in regards to all these other services that you provide, case management, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, you could, any teacher, anyone that works with the team can definitely refer to our services. As I mentioned, we're in Ventura County Public Health, and I could provide you with a referral form. I didn't bring one, but I could definitely provide that to anyone who would like one. My email is nancy.ballard, B as in boy, A-L-L-A-R-D, @ventura.org. And I'm happy to send you anyone who would like it. Thanks for asking me a question.
Where do you said you get referrals from CalSafe? Where do the students sign up with you for your services?
We get the referrals, and then we contact the team and offer them services. And if they are interested in services, then we have a case manager go out and meet with them and do the whole, intake.
But you said you did. I'm just a little deaf. You said you don't provide child care?
No.
But
you refer to child care.
Okay.
We refer for child care.
Okay.
But we don't.
You don't have I understand. But do you pay for their child care?
Just in the CalLearn program. Our voluntary program doesn't have the resources for that. CalLearn is a state mandated program for all counties in California.
Thank you very much.
In regards to paying for childcare, would you reimburse a district if their student decides to go through the district childcare?
We don't have that capacity. No.
But are the services that you provide, those are free? I mean,
They are free, yes.
So
Both
all of the
programs.
referral services, the WIC program, the
All of the
transportation,
referrals, getting them to medical appointments, whatever needs to be done, we want to help that team succeed.
case managers is all free of
We want
charge.
you to increase their resiliency, yes, and help them succeed.
It's just minus the actual physical childcare. Okay. But you said you do that in conjunction with CalSafe? And if they
Over
could-
the years, over many years, that AFLP and CalLearn began in 1995, AFLP before that, 85. And so we've worked in conjunction with CalSafe since they came into being, probably he said to clarify when that is. Because we want to eliminate barriers for teens to go to school and get their education, because we all know how important that is.
Thank you.
Is one of the criteria for being a participant in CalLearn is that the teen is on welfare?
Yes. No, the teens, they could be a nested teen, so the parent is getting cash aid for the teen and the baby, or they could be 18 and on their own case. Because when they're an adult, they can file for their own case. But they might not have graduated yet, so they could be in CalLearn.
Okay, so then do you serve undocumented students? Those without U.S. citizenship?
In CalLearn, there's an undocumented parent can apply for welfare, cash aid case, for their documented,
But what if the student is undocumented?
then they wouldn't qualify for CalWorks. They wouldn't qualify for cash aid.
Nancy, does CalLearn ever provide transportation to the daycare program that they're in?
We don't want to be a taxi, so that's really what the transportation that we can provide is more geared toward getting to medical appointments or really necessary appointments that are going to be the most beneficial to the team. But we can't really take them to school every day, we don't have that many meals assigned to the program.
Okay.
But
And then also, and for clarification, so though you've worked closely with CalSafe, CalLearn refers to any other program as well, is that correct? Or
CalLearn, if the teen, if child care is a barrier going to school, and there's no child care available to them, or they don't want to use, say, the child care located at the school, then CalLearn, we do refer to CDR, Child Development Resources, and the teen can either pick a provider, from a list of available locations, or they can even have a relative reimbursed to watch their child while they go to school.
thank you.
Are there any questions?
I just had one really quick, just for clarification. Following on Madam President's question, you said undocumented children students wouldn't qualify for CalLearn. Would they qualify for the Adolescent
Yes,
Family Life
yes,
Program?
we would. We have many undocumented students in our voluntary program.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
You know what, I didn't give you did the board have any questions of the ABC preschool presentation? Ms. Gordon,
I have a question.
for her?
Yeah.
Okay.
As a licensed daycare, can you tell me some of the regulations you're under? Like, because I went on your website and they have reports of years back. It's like you're very transparent. So how as a licensed daycare, Could you just tell me some of the regulations?
Well, we have a lot of regulations. For example, our staff outreach to children, they are regulated, heavily regulated, I would say. And we exceed those expectations. For example, there you go. So for example, for the infants, we are required to have one teacher for every 4 infants. We have one teacher for 3 infants. For the toddlers, we have one teacher for every 6. Actually, it varies. For the preschool age, it changes as well. That's 1 to 8 that we have. The requirements are 1 to 12 per licensing. We do hold Title V regulations, which the standards are a lot higher, but we hold that throughout the whole center, not just one classroom. The whole center is held at higher standards.
And you talk about being held to higher standards. What are your checks and balances system in regard to the cleanliness of a child being cared for? You know, who is accountable for that? Overseeing the teacher aspect of it.
Well, we do have our teachers that are responsible before anybody else. Each teacher is assigned to 3 students, and they make sure that they go home nice and clean for the parents when the parents pick them up. Their diaper changes, we have a log for that as well to make sure that they get clean, everything's done on time, how many times, did the baby get fed? Of course they did, so how many times, and then also the time, so that when the parent arrives to pick up the child, they know when was the last time their child got a meal, when was the last time that they got diaper change, and that they were cleaned as well. But it doesn't stop there. Then we have our program coordinator as well, that she checks and makes sure, and then we have our program director as well, that checks every day. And then we have my mom. You ever met my mom? She makes sure every single classroom is clean. So if you ever walk in there, she makes sure those walls are clean, their carpet is clean. She makes sure that you need to walk into there to see how clean it is. Because I decided I was going to walk to other centers to see where are we holding our standards. And boy, am I happy. Our carpets are practically spotless. Our walls are very clean all the time. And we follow all of the regulations and beyond the regulations to disinfect and clean the bodies.
And how is your security?
Well, if you do not have a fingerprint registered with us, you cannot go into our center. As soon as you walk in, we have a big door, and then that's the lobby section. So you can get to our lobby, you can say hello, and you may ask questions. After that, there's another door that you may go through, but not if you don't have a fingerprint or a special number to get through. You cannot get past that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you again. At this point, I would like to ask Lisa Sadowski, the coordinator on behalf of the CalSafe program, to make her 5-minute presentation.
Good evening, board members, Madam President, Superintendent Cora, and fellow school administrators. I appreciate Superintendent Cora inviting me this evening to share information about our CalSafe Teen Parent Program. I'm here this evening not to sway or vote over one program or another, but to simply provide information about the services we provide to students. To begin, our CalSafe program is a dropout prevention program for teens, males and females, who are expecting a child or parenting a child while working towards securing a high school diploma. Our support services are comprehensive and community linked and are designed to help 2 generations, the teen and their child. One of the many services we provide is childcare, with an emphasis on school readiness and early intervention for any developmental delays. However, we are not solely a childcare program. The many Santa Paula Unified Teen parents that we have served for 13 years prior to this school year come from a variety of different backgrounds. They were student athletes, student government, band members, honor roll students, academy of students, special education students, and students with chronic absenteeism. They were also homeless youth, foster youth, migrant youth, unaccompanied minors, youth on probation, undocumented youth, sexual abuse victims, and sex trafficked teens. Regardless of their backgrounds or risk factors, we served every student by providing comprehensive support services that helped guide them on their journey towards their high school diploma. By having CalSafe support services on campus, it provides additional support in collaboration with your school counselors and your school health technician. It's a team effort. Our weekly one-on-one case management sessions gives teams the opportunity to share any obstacles they are dealing with while we provide resources and assistance to help keep them on their academic path. Many times they are struggling with issues at home that directly impact their school academic performance. They are sometimes embarrassed or ashamed to share these issues with school staff because they do not want other students or staff to hear about these issues, and they don't want to have people know that they're struggling. Our program does a monthly intake during our case management sessions where we ask certain questions that enable them to share their struggles, and then we immediately offer resources at that moment. We monitor student attendance and quarter report cards, offering additional support for any needs. We attend SARB and IEP meetings to provide support services. We offer weekly Triple P parenting groups in collaboration with the New Dawn Counseling Center in the Child Care Center at lunchtime. Breastfeeding students are able to breastfeed their infants in a private, comfortable space in the Child Care Center during nutrition and lunch, and we provide nutritional snacks. For graduating seniors, we assist them with applying for FAFSA and college admission. We also, right now, the time of the year, we're preparing graduation plans for each senior with resources for after graduation, such as childcare, preschool, or Head Start. Our Child Care Center is staffed with college-trained bilingual staff who complete many early childhood professional growth hours throughout the school year. Each staff completes a developmental assessment twice a year on every child and completes an ASQ assessment on every child. Through the developmental assessment, we identify any developmental delays and then provide resources for the children and their families. Our Child Care Center also monitors child immunizations on a quarterly basis to ensure that their vaccinations are up to date. If a child happens to become ill at our Child Care Center, we notify the school health technician, and together we contact the teen parent and family to see if a family member can pick up the child so the teen can remain in school and they do not miss any of their classes. We also accommodate children with special needs. We turn no one away, and we work closely with their therapists. We provide all food and nutrition for the children, including baby formula for the infants. And our emerging curriculum focuses on learning, as well as incorporating home language into literacy activities. As I started in the beginning, our program provides support services to two generations, the teen and their child. By supporting both generations, the positive outcome or academic success for the teen, with a plan for college and career after graduation, and for the children entering preschool and kindergarten. And in conclusion, I would like to thank Superintendent Cora for arranging for you board members to visit our child care centers at Oxnard Union campuses, and we're very appreciative that you came this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Does this board have any questions for Lisa?
For those that may not be in attendance tonight, how much is your program a year from the district?
It depends. The last time that we served Santa Paula Unified, it was $176,000. So estimating that cost for prior years would probably be maybe $185 to $200, which is an approximate.
And that's every year?
That's every year, correct.
What are your hours?
We're open from 7:45 to 3:15, just the school day.
Just the school day? And are you
Yes.
open during the summer, or are you only during the school year?
During the school year, 215 days.
Can we ask what the hours of ABC and what they're?
I think theirs was 7 to 6.
7 to 6, and are you open during summer? And are you regulated by anyone? Do you have a license?
We are license exempt. All CalSafe programs throughout California are license exempt because the teens and the children are on the same campus. But we do follow Title 22 regulations, just as the same as For example, ABC preschool, we do follow the same regulations.
Sorry.
Do you, when I was visiting over at one of the high schools in Oxnard, I think that they told me that CalSafe puts all of the cribs and everything, the refrigerator, everything into the room. Is that true?
For what?
For the room, for the,
Do you supply the
We
cribs?
supply every single thing. All that we
Yeah.
ask is the room. That's it.
that was, I did not know that. I
We
was
provide all the equipment,
surprised.
all the supplies, all the manipulatives, everything.
The refrigerator,
Uh-huh.
the stove?
We tend to not cook,
Yeah,
only because we do not have a chef. So,
microwave.
yeah, we tend to try to do easy prepare meals.
And you deliver, she said that you deliver fresh food on a regular basis?
Yes.
From the
Mhm.
refrigerator?
Yes, exactly.
And that's all free?
And that's all included, yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
You had mentioned that you're license exempt.
Yes.
Can you go into detail about what it means to have
If
a
you'd like,
license?
I have a copy of the licensing regulation, if you like, that states it.
That'd be great.
Would that be good? Okay. And it kind of tells you, it actually pulls the regulation there. Oh, I also have, copies of our flyer too with our referral form. That you can copy, so you guys can- Oh, sure, yes, of the regulations?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lisa, I've been on the board since CalSafe started 13 years ago. In those 13 years, I don't think there's ever been an incident reported to us with any problem of the CalSafe program on campus.
No.
What I have heard from the Oxnard School District is that the administrators are worry-free.
Oh,
That
completely.
they know CalSafe
100%.
is taking care of it. They don't have to think twice about what's happening
Yes.
in that program.
Yes.
Because it's so self-contained.
It's completely self-contained, self-directed, self-supervised, self-everything. Sometimes the administrators do support us because we do deal with teens, and there might be some teen issues going on on campus, and so they do come to help and support, but it is completely a self-sufficient program.
Do you carry liability insurance or anything?
Yes, through the County Office of Ed. Oh, sure.
I'm gonna have some available to the public, whatever's left over if you want a copy.
How many students how many teens would you say that, can you estimate that you've helped at Santa Paula, both girls and boys? Because the way I see it,
13 years is a very long time.
yeah, well, I think that you not only help the mom, you help the dad, and then you help the
Absolutely.
child.
Yes.
So we get 3 for 1.
Yes, you do, yes, and we do, as far as the year prior, we actually had, I think, 3 or 4 males in our program, which probably was the highest ever, so that was also good.
Is that in Santa Paula or
District-wide, between Renaissance and the high school, and Isabel.
And do you have records from prior years? How do you keep records?
So we have, every child and student are enrolled in an enrollment packet, and so that shows, that's pretty much how we get our numbers is by that. We do an intake process, and then we also request their transcripts and their attendance records as well
And are
to
those
monitor.
records public? Like, you can go on ABC's website and see
No,
them.
because they have to send those records to the state.
So you don't report
We
to
do not
them?
have to report to the state. So that's why none of those are public record.
So do you have an oversight, or you just oversight by yourself?
I oversee the program, and then the director of our department also as well.
But like nobody above that? It's
Correct.
just
No.
all self-contained
Correct.
oversight by yourself?
Because it's funded by LCAP dollars through the school district.
Okay.
So it's not funded by the state.
You are housed at the Ventura County Office of Education,
Correct.
so you're not like by yourself.
No, I'm not in my car. I have an office at 5189 Verdugo Way, second floor, next to Mr. Mendoza. So I do have an office, yes. But I am at the school sites constantly, and I have my site leader here, Lisa, who also oversees the child care centers. And so we are right out there in the feel busy.
Because you use tax dollars, are you, like, could we audit your books? Who audits? Because they ask for ASB audits, it's a amount of
That would
money.
be up to your district, because what happens is your district invoices county office for the services that we provide. So that would be up to your district to inquire about that.
Okay, if there's
Okay,
nothing else.
thank you so much. Thank you
so
for your
much.
time. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we're going to have public comment on the subject, and I'd like to begin with Kelsey Stewart. Jeanette Ortega. Jennifer Avalos.
Good evening, board members and personnel. My name is Jennifer Avalos, and I am a Santa Paula resident. I have been living here my entire life, and I attended Santa Paula High School. I'm now currently attending California State University Northridge, and I am speaking on behalf of the CalSafe program today and its importance to our community. I am currently a student and a mother to my son, who is 2 years old. It is a constant struggle day to day to balance both roles, and I can only imagine without the support of any program for our teen parents to succeed academically. Speaking on behalf of my experience and daily struggle, I urge you to consider the supporting of CalSafe program here at Santa Paula High School and our teen parents' academic success. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, you've changed your mind. We'll have you as 90. Christine Husserl.
Good evening, board members. I am so happy to be here. My whole mission this week was to study CalSafe. I believed in that program for a long, long time. I worked for the county for 28 years, and all the clients that I had ever had and had their children or were participated in the CalSafe program, they did wonderful. They usually entered junior college and then went on to get their BAs. That's how good. And their kids were very well taken care of. That's the most important thing, right? And parents were content and happy. This week I did a lot of research about programs like this throughout the country, and especially in California. And I found out that it's a very comprehensive program, that it gives a lot of counseling to the boy and the girl who are pregnant, that pregnancies do not occur as often anymore. There's not the recidivism of pregnancies. And I think all the education and the hard work that people in the CalSafe program have done has helped for that. And then that helps us as a taxpayer, right? Because many people are coming out self-sufficient. And not only the parents, but the grandparents also. I'm talking about like my level of grandparents. Okay. They're also a lot happier with their children too. And there's a lot of mending and a lot of hurt and everything that gets solved, and a lot of the counseling that's been given to these families. So I really recommend and I urge you to continue with this CalSafe program. It's worked in the past, it will continue working. I have a lot of faith in it from different avenues in the life that I have. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Leaf Monroe.
My name is My name is Lee Monroe, and prior to my child working as a science teacher at Santa Barbara High School. I worked as a public health nurse for the program that Ms. Mel was speaking about, so I have a lot of experience working with teens in this population. So teen mothers have the lowest rate of breastfeeding in the general population. And so well, the decision to breastfeed has lifelong impact on this newborn. As an infant, breastfeeding protects against respiratory infections, meningitis, urinary tract infections, and also it's been proven to increase cognitive development. And these benefits continue throughout life. Multiple studies have shown that adolescents who are breastfed have lower rates of behavioral problems. Adults have lower rates of diabetes too. In fact, it's really often, it's a life or death thing. In some cases, breastfed children have a 21% lower death rate than bottle-fed infants. So teen mothers already have considerable barriers to breastfeeding. There's a stigma that their peers aren't doing it. A lot of times families, their support system doesn't really encourage breastfeeding. And so a program like CalSafe is incredibly important with the sort of support that they've listed. And I have studies with me that you can make available to you that show 4 different studies from the National Institute of Health, from their federal health agency that show that teens make the initial decision to breastfeed based on the kind of support they think they're going to get at school. And having an off-site daycare effectively makes the choice to breastfeed not possible. Very much time. So I was curious as to whether or not the kind of laws that apply to employment applies to schools in terms of accommodating breastfeeding. And in fact, there are federal mandates as well as a state law that was passed in the last few years that mandate accommodations. And those accommodations include, having privacy for breastfeeding, pumping, not a bathroom, not penalizing mother academically, and I think that it's serious.
Lee,
One second.
you need to end.
Okay.
But thank you so much for your comments.
Okay. Liability in Title IX.
Thank you for understanding. Sure. Thank you. Okay. I'd like to thank each and every one of our presenters and public comment speakers today. This is an issue we've been grappling with since we became unified. So hopefully we'll make some decisions later on. All right, the next presentation will be K-5 Reading Intervention and the Barbara Webster Elementary Learning Center Model. Christine.
Good evening. Tonight we have a dual presentation for you. I'll begin with a brief overview of the K-5 Reading Intervention Program and services funded through our local control accountability plan. And then I will hand the presentation over to Mr. Madrigal, Administrator, Principal for Barbara Webster Elementary School, and Mr. Brandon Sportel, Special Education Teacher, who will share an overview and vision of the Barbara Webster Learning Center model.
a brief overview of the type of support that the Reading Intervention Program provides, beginning with staffing. We employ 10 reading teachers district-wide to support our struggling readers in grades K through 5. All of our elementary schools have 1.5 reading teachers, with the exception of Glen City, who has 2.5 reading intervention teachers to support our kids. As far as the target population and students that are identified for reading intervention, we primarily look at students who are reading 2 or more reading levels behind grade level. Teachers are instrumental and recommend students in their classes to receive reading intervention. And we have incorporated assessments, informal reading inventories. We use QRI. We use a literally reading assessment, which aligns to the Fontes and Pinnell reading levels. We use STAR reading, GPST, which is a basic phonics skills test, as well as high frequency words for our kids. So we have integrated an assessment component to monitor impact. We collect data at the end of first trimester. We establish a base, and then our reading teachers, as well as Barbara Webster Learning Center model staff, submit data to the district office, and we're able to aggregate that and report out. As far as the type of services that we provide pull-out services in small groups for each grade level. We keep the groups to approximately 5 students, because we want to make sure that teachers are able to provide that one-on-one instruction. As well as we have identified curriculum. We use a WonderWorks curriculum, which is a reading intervention program that is aligned to our core. We also use Level Readers, a SIPS program, which is a systematic instruction and phonological awareness program, and teacher-created materials to meet the individual needs of students. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the subsequent slides. I included them for the board for your reference, and I'll just go over briefly to provide context to each slide. But I'd really like Mr. Sportel and Mr. Madrigal to have the time to highlight their program. This slide just outlines the frequency of services. Students receive services at all of our schools, 3 to 5 days a week for a minimum of 25 minutes. This slide here, you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, first trimester, that was beginning of the year through November 9th. We served 516 students district-wide with reading intervention services. We broke down our data 2 different ways. Here you can see district scores by grade levels. And if you look at the bottom line under total, you can see that 12% and 58%, which is 70% of our students, have increased 1 or more reading levels just during the first trimester. So our kids are making progress. The next slide, you can see the growth by school. You can see many of our schools are seeing success and having kids progress through the reading levels. I do want to note, the asterisk at the bottom, is that the reading levels and the progress don't reflect mastery of grade level standards. They reflect reading levels and the grade level reading skills that students are expected to have in order to access the core curriculum. The standards are separate, so it's very important to know that. We don't leave out our kindergartners. We have a few of our schools, 5 of our schools who have provided reading intervention first trimester for kindergarten. The other 2 will pick up a second trimester, but you can see even our youngest learners, their progress in identifying letter sounds has increased significantly just in those 13 weeks of reading intervention, as well as we have Glen City and Thiel who focus not only on letter identification, but sight words, which we know those 2 skills are fundamental for foundational reading. And at this point, before we move on, a little bit out of order, I also included this slide for the Board of Trustees. We also have begun looking at students who have received reading intervention in 5th grade, those 78 students in the bottom left-hand corner, and we're looking at academic progress when they're in 6th grade at middle school. So we do all of this intense intervention work at the elementary level. How are these kids doing once they go into middle school? And what do we need to do to create and support that bridge? You can see that, and this is based on a first semester, bottom row, that 65%, 51 out of the 78 students had a GPA of 2.0 or above. The next two columns are distance from standard. What that means is when they took the SPAC at the end of 5th grade, after receiving those reading intervention services, their scale scores increased. They were closer to standards met. So when you look at that, 53% of the students decreased the distance from standard met, which means they had higher scale scores. Okay. The last couple columns are star reading data. We need to tighten that up again a bit and collect it more consistently district-wide. So we'll be offering some training for administrators so we can tighten that data up, and we can use it as reliable data to monitor progress. So again, those slides were included for your reference to get a context of how we're doing trimester 1. Trimester 2 concluded March 1st, so we will be gathering trimester 2 data and incorporating that into our annual review of LCAP. So now for the fun part, Mr. Sportel and Mr. Madrigal, thank you for being here today to talk a little bit about the wonderful program at Barbara Webster. And so now together.
So I just do the introduction and origin story of the Learning Center. I first conceived of the Learning Center over a decade ago. At that time, I visited an exceptional school in Bakersfield, and there I met and studied the work of Mr. Luke Hogue. Mr. Hogue had successfully pulled his school out of program improvement and merged special education and regular education, which had always been a very difficult thing for all schools. There would be usually two separate entities. Things are changing now. He went on to become the head of special education for his district, and I went on to try to create a place where a group of teaching specialists would work in conjunction with classroom teachers to provide, and this is important, a multi-tiered system of support. A system where students could learn at their level in small groups. An intervention where we would track student progress and move them along a continuum of improvement. Further, I wanted the system to be outside of core instruction time and be differentiated for varying levels of students. I heard one of the child care programs talk about how they don't turn anybody away, and that's one of our mottos at Barbara Webster, that we have a place for everyone when they come into our system. I tried unsuccessfully. It was a failure at the first school that I tried this at. It wasn't because the idea was bad, but it's because I didn't have the right people with me and on my side. When I came to Santa Paula, and specifically Barbara Webster, I found the right people. And I want to specifically give kudos to RSP teacher Vanessa Donahue, who's a principal now, who believed in this idea, and also Roxanne Masser. And by way of that, I also want to give kudos to the board members who were here at that time and are continuing to pay for our reading specialists. If it wasn't for that reading specialist, this learning center could not exist. They had the foresight to trust me to try this model. And the staff also trusted me to create, and this was key, to create a master schedule that wrapped itself around the Learning Center schedule. So the Learning Center schedule was first, and then everything else came around that. Our PE schedules, our library schedules, even when they taught language arts and math. That was no easy task, because you know that teachers can be a little bit stubborn sometimes, especially in terms of when they teach and on particular days that they're going to teach. So if it wasn't for the Barbara Webster staff and their willingness to do this, again, it would have been another failure. Now, 4 years later, we have this model, a multi-tiered system of support and intervention that does not conflict with any core instruction time. A system where students can be served at their level and move up that cycle of improvement. However, it was not until we added Brandon Sportel that our Learning Center team and the Learning Center itself has had the ability to reach its potential. We're very close to that now. We're not there yet, as Brandon will tell you in a few minutes, but we are closer than we've ever been before. You see, what I found as a leader is that you have to be willing to listen to people who have better ideas than you do. And you must engender trust in those you lead. So 2 years ago, I recruited Brandon from Carpinteria to come to Webster and help me improve the Learning Center. He trusted my vision and I trusted his. And in fact, I soon learned that his vision exceeded my vision for the Learning Center. It is Brandon Sportel who has expanded and improved our system of support to where it is now. And I'm turning over the rest of the presentation to him, and I want to thank him publicly for doing that. Thank you, Brandon.
I can see the reason why we opted for cushioned seats. I won't be offended if anybody needs to stand up and do some yoga or move around. Thank you, Jeff. One of the things I want to mention is, I'll prompt in the slides, thanks, in a second. When I first got here, the first order of business was to pull in any staff that we had, specialists, get us working as a team. I was in the SPCEO administrative program, and I learned the value of facilitation and leadership. Scrape together every resource we had and every staff and get them on a team together moving towards a similar goal. And that's really what drives the success we've had so far. I want to kind of go on to the slide. Over there. We do have a multi-tiered system of support, and we've really blown it out. We have 6 levels of support, and what Jeff said, no matter where you come from and what level of need you have, we got a place for you. And I want to go over those levels really quick because I think it's important for the community and the board to understand that this district has varying students.